All right, let's talk about forgiveness. It's it's a huge word, right? We hear it all the time, but what does it really mean? Because for so many of us it just feels impossible. Like this big, complicated, heavy thing. So let's dive in because getting a handle on what forgiveness truly is, that might just be the key to unlocking a much lighter, freer version of yourself.
I mean, just think about it for a second. Have you ever held on to anger after someone really hurt you? It's completely draining, isn't it? It just takes up all this space in your head, in your heart, playing on a loop over and over. It's kind of like carrying a heavy backpack that you never ever get to take off.
And that's the very first thing we have to get out in the open. This stuff isn't simple. Not at all. If you've ever struggled with it, believe me, you are not alone. The truth is, it's a really difficult process for pretty much everyone, and it is perfectly okay to admit that.
So, before we can even talk about letting go, we've got to understand what it is we're holding on to in the first place. Let's really explore the true cost of carrying all that hurt around. We often think our anger is all pointed outwards, that it's about the other person. But the reality, that bitterness, that resentment, eventually it turns inward. It becomes the lens you see the entire world through. And if you're not careful, it can start to define who you are. And that is a heavy, all consuming weight to carry. So, why is it so incredibly hard to just let go of that weight? Well, a huge part of it comes down to a really common fundamental misunderstanding of what forgiveness actually is. So, let's clear that up right now. Okay, this is probably the single biggest reason people fight the idea of forgiving someone. There's this myth that if you forgive, you're basically condoning what happened. You're saying, hey, what you did, it was okay. But the reality couldn't be more different. Forgiveness has absolutely nothing to do with that. It is not about letting them off the hook. Okay, so if forgiveness isn't about excusing someone else, then what on earth is it? This is where we get to a much more empowering way of looking at it. Here it is, the core idea. Forgiveness is an internal process. It's about you. It's the conscious choice to stop letting that anger and bitterness live inside you, to stop letting it poison your own life. It's about taking your power back.
Seriously, let that sink in for a moment. It's a gift you are giving to yourself. The other person, they may never know you forgave them. They might never change. They might never even say they're sorry. And you know what? That's okay. Because this action, this release, is for your peace of mind, for your freedom from that exhausting weight we were talking about. And this brings us to a really, really crucial distinction, one that honestly can change everything. It's about separating the act of forgiving from the idea of getting back together or reuniting. This is the question that unlocks the whole thing. Is it possible? Can you internally let go of all that anger, but externally decide that person is just not healthy for you to have in your life? Can you find your own peace without inviting their toxicity back in? Yes, absolutely 100% yes. This is the game changer. Forgiveness does not mean you have to have reconciliation. You can wish someone well from a great, great distance. You can release the anger without ever reopening that door. The best way to think about it is as a two-part action, okay? Part one is internal. You forgive them to free yourself. Part two is external. You protect yourself. You set up healthy boundaries, which can absolutely mean staying far, far away from their negativity. They're not mutually exclusive. In fact, they work together perfectly. So, what do we do with all this? How does this new understanding change our own path forward when we've been hurt? Let's kind of wrap this all up. Here are the four big things to remember from all of this. First, forgiving is not the same thing as accepting bad behavior. Second, it's really an act of letting go of your own heavy burden. Third, the focus here is on your freedom, not theirs. And finally, and this is the most empowering part, you can absolutely forgive someone and choose to protect yourself. Consider this your official permission slip. You have every right to create a peaceful, safe environment for yourself. Letting go of your anger doesn't mean you have to let toxic people back into your life. Your well-being has to come first. Period. So, as we wrap this up, I'll just leave you with this one thought. Forgiveness isn't about forgetting what happened. It's about choosing not to let it control your future. So the only real question left to ask yourself is, what weight are you ready to finally put down?